100 years ago, a small town in Tennessee put God and science on trial. It was called the Scopes Monkey Trial, and it was never really about one teacher or one classroom. It was about who gets to decide what truth is. A century later, that battle is far from over. Evolution, religion, education, politics. In 2025, America is still arguing the same questions, and maybe more than ever. Today's story takes us back to 1925, to a case that changed America forever. It was a hot July day when John T. Scopes, a high school science teacher, walked into court accused of teaching evolution in class. It wasn't a random arrest, it was a setup. The American Civil Liberties Union wanted a test case to challenge the Butler Act, a Tennessee law banning the teaching of any theory that denies divine creation. Dayton, a small town with fewer than 2,000 people, saw a chance to make history and maybe a little tourism money. What followed would become one of the most famous trials in American history. Two legal legends faced off in court. An icon of the religious right prosecuted the case. On the other side stood Clarence, Darrow, famed atheist lawyer, defender of the underdog, and an intellectual warrior. The trial turned into a national spectacle. Reporters swarmed the town. Radio stations broadcast live. It was the first U.S. trial ever to be aired nationwide. And while Scopes sat quietly, the real fight was between science and scripture. This wasn't just about biology. It was about belief. Could you teach something that contradicted the Bible in public schools? Too many Christians. Evolution was a threat to morality and divine truth. Two scientists and free thinkers. Banning it was censorship. The trial highlighted America's growing divide between modernism and fundamentalism, rural values and urban progress. And if it sounds familiar, it should. Headlines called it the trial of the century. Cartoonists drew apes and preachers side by side. The press treated the trial like a boxing match. Dayton was flooded with circus acts, vendors, and even monkey mascots. It became a media circus, but beneath the jokes was a serious cultural shift. For the first time, Americans had to ask, what belongs in a classroom and who gets to decide? Scopes was found guilty. He was fined $100. But the damage and the message was bigger than the verdict. Bryan died just days after the trial. The conversation about evolution would echo through the rest of the 20th century. Darrow returned to Chicago, and while the law stayed in place, the momentum had shifted. Public opinion began to turn. Fast forward 100 years. Tennessee has changed, but the argument hasn't. School boards across the country still debate science standards. Intelligent design movements seek a return to religious explanations. Some textbooks still avoid the word evolution entirely. And now, as AI, gender identity, and critical race theory enter the classroom once again, Americans are asking, who controls knowledge? For many, the Scopes trial painted religion and science as enemies. But is that the full story? Modern theologians argue that faith and evolution can coexist. Even Pope Francis has said that evolution is not incompatible with Christian faith. Still, deep in the American psyche, there's mistrust. Evolution remains a lightning rod in politics and education. The trial didn't end the fight. It simply changed its battlefield. In some places, evolution is taught as fact. In others, it's framed as just a theory. As of 2025, science education varies dramatically by state. Laws similar to the Butler Act were repealed, but new ones have taken their place under different names. Parents protest, school boards clash, and students sit in the middle trying to learn while adults argue. The Scopes trial wasn't just about evolution. It was about power, culture, and fear of change. Today's culture wars, from book bans to bathroom laws, mirror the same tensions: tradition versus progress, belief versus evidence, control versus freedom. Understanding Scopes isn't about looking back. It's about recognizing the same patterns now in our headlines and classrooms. 100 years later, we still ask, what do we believe? Who decides what's true? If this helped you see history a little clearer, give it a like, subscribe, and can we teach our children both curiosity and conviction? Maybe the lesson of the Scopes trial isn't about choosing sides. Maybe it's about learning to listen. Because the real danger isn't evolution or religion, it's refusing to hear each other at all. Thanks for watching, and comment. Should schools teach evolution, religion, or both? Let's talk below.